केवल जनसंख्या बढ़ाओ, रात दिन बच्चे पैदा करो, केवल औरतों को बच्चा बनाने की मशीन बना दिया गया। एक एक के घर में 12 बच्चे पैदा हो रहे हैं, जैसे हमारे यहाँ जानवर के यहाँ पैदा होते हैं, हमारी सूरी पैदा करती है, हमारे कुत्ते पैदा करते हैं।
Abrahamic religions forbade contraception as a concept and believe that children are children are presents or gifts from God. And in India, Muslim personal law is the only law that actually permits polygamy. So on paper, legally speaking, only Muslim communities can have polygamous relationships. What does the Quran say and the Hadiths that with the research that you've done in terms of family planning, polygamy, and how does that play into a community's psyche when they approach concepts of polygamy and family planning?
You say that Abrahamic religions prohibit contraception. That is not true, because yes, Christianity is against even condom. But Islam, which I have argued, there is a whole chapter on what in Quran and Islam said. You know, there is no, number one, there is no prohibition of family planning anywhere in the Quran. And Quran specifically said that Allah is saying that whatever I wanted you not to do, whatever I wanted to make haram for you, prohibit for you, I have explained to you in detail. And He has not prohibited family planning. Whatever was not clear to people from the Quran, they would go to the Prophet, peace be upon him, to seek his explanation. So a young man who was poor went to the Prophet and said, look, this is what the ayat says, when I have the wherewithal, I should marry. I have no wherewithal, I am very poor, but I have my sexual desires. What should I do? So the Prophet then said that, repeated that verse, and he said, till you have the means to bring up a family, you should resort to fasting, because fasting suppresses sexual desires. You know, there is a Quranic injunction that you should marry only when you have the wherewithal, and Prophet has explained that how to wait till you have the wherewithal. Now, there is another hadith. Hadith is what Prophet said and did, as reported. So, which to my mind clinches the issue and answers your question. Somebody who had many children went to the Prophet and he said, I have many children and I don't want any more, and I want to practice al-azl, which meant in Arabic the withdrawal method.
Right.
Now, that was the only method of family planning known those days, a withdrawal. And then he said that a Jew was saying that the azl is a minor infanticide. Because you're killing the sperm. So Prophet said, no, Jew lied, which means al-azl is fine. If you want to practice, go ahead. So even the method of family planning was sanctioned by the Prophet. To me, these two hadith and the Quranic verse are a complete prescription for family planning among the Muslims.
Muslim men are the gatekeepers to the religion, by and large, and the ulama holds a large sway over popular conception of an interpretation of the Quran. How can change be brought about from within the community, and especially by the gatekeepers to the religion in itself?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and in fact, I've tried to answer. Although the perception may be that I'm only trying to bust the Hindu myths, but actually, through the book, I'm trying to persuade the Muslims to practice family planning, and very proactively. And I've given a whole entire chapter as a communication expert, how to do it, how to promote it among the Muslims. You know, what kind of messaging to do. For instance, if you have to approach through the rights approach, the rights of women to good health, the right of a child to good upbringing. So on that, no ulama will disagree. So if you follow the rights approach and tell them that Islam was the first religion to give these rights 1400 years ago, why is it that the followers of that religion are fighting shy and they are not giving those rights? So we need to have a debate and dialogue with the ulama. You should I pointed out that government of India has not communicated with the Muslim. I say you must flag the issue. If they are a resistant group, you have to deal with this and you have to talk to them. Now let us organize discussions, debates, and training. And in fact, there is a chapter on 10 Muslim countries where family planning has been a great success.
Right.
Now let us send our ulama to Malaysia, Indonesia, Bangladesh, Iran, and see how come those countries who are very conservative Muslim countries, and they have adopted family planning in a big way. So if they can, why can't we? Similarly, we can invite ulama from those countries to talk to ours and have a dialogue and discussion.
On this note of family planning, your book begins by admitting that Muslims produce too many children in some ways, and then that the Muslim birth rate, as you rightly said, is the highest in India. The ratio and demographics of that has changed over the last 70 years, right? 84% of Hindus has come down to around 79%, and Muslims have gone from 9% to about 14% now. What have you found looking at the census data from the 1930s, as you said? And what would you say to people who, or the right wing, so to speak, that champion this Hindu Khatre mein hai dialogue within families, within political rallies, within societies and whispers? It's everywhere.
Actually, when you say admitting that Muslims are putting too many children, that's not correct. I have said that Muslims have the highest birth rate.
Yes.
Sure, they have the highest birth rate. But who is the close second? The Hindus. So that is something which is missing. You know, the Muslims as being responsible for the population explosion creates the impression that as if Hindu families have 2 children and Muslims have 10.
Right.
Whereas the fact is at no point in time, the number of children born to a Muslim family was more than 1. If Hindus had 4 children, Muslims had 5. If the Hindus had 5, Muslims had 6. The gap was only just 1 child. So this was the first myth which I have exploded. And that gap also has come down to 0.48, less than half a child. So during the last 4 national family health surveys, which means in the last 20 years. So which is a very, very good thing. Secondly, you are right, as a result of the higher birth rate, in the last 60 years, until 2011 census, 60 years, the demographic ratio was a little upset, which is what they are trying to say. But last 30 years, Muslims are catching up on family planning very fast. They are adopting family planning faster than the Hindus, which is why the gap is narrowing. If it wasn't the same thing, or in fact the gap would have increased. The gap is narrowing. So that's a good thing, positive thing that Muslims are adopting family planning in a big way.